Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
ESPN Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back into Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Dylan Vire here again with Alex Pohl. We have a lot to get to today. It's going to be a very, very fun show. We're even going to get some of your comments into the action, which we cannot wait to respond to. But let's just get right into it. Last night was the best game of the entire year. The thing that we watch that we actually look forward to watching the commercials of.
Yeah.
What was your favorite commercial from the Super Bowl last night?
Oh, that's going to be a hard one. Oh my gosh, wait, there's so many.
I know. First of all, I would say there was too many AI ads. Like, I was not enjoying that. I was like
crypto.
Yes.
There's a lot of that too.
Yes. I think my favorite had to be the Dunkin' one. I feel like they always do a great one with all the Boston figures.
And also Pepsi always does a really good job too.
I
with
like
their
theirs.
Commercials.
Yeah. So the commercials were great, but was the game better? That's kind of the thing that everyone is a little iffy about. The Seahawks won that game 29-13, but was it a good game? Do you think that it was one of the best defensive Super Bowls ever played, or was it just a boring game?
I know when you first were like, oh, the best game was yesterday, I was like, the one that everyone looks forward to. I wouldn't say that yesterday was a best game. I mean, I think we saw so many games during the regular season that were much better and more exciting than that one. I mean, defenses win Super Bowls.
Yep.
Defenses win games. I think the Seahawks have a phenomenal defense, obviously, and we saw that yesterday, but I don't think the Patriots were really up to that standard last night, especially in the first half.
Well, maybe someone who's better fit to answer this question is Damon Amendolara, host of the DA Show with mornings on SiriusXM's Mad Dog channel, also a Syracuse Newhouse grad, and someone I previously interned for, so this is pretty weird. Roles reversed. Damon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm a little sad that NFL football season's over, but we're going to try to plow forward, one step in front of the other. We'll pick up the pieces, but I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Good. We're good. Well, I'll ask you this question. Was it the most boring Super Bowl you've ever watched, or were you blown away by just the Seahawks defense?
It wasn't the most boring. The most boring that I've seen was a little less than 10 years ago, probably 8 years ago or so. That was the Rams-Patriots game that was 13-3. Although that game had so little offense, but also not great defense either. At least last night you could appreciate how the Seahawks really swarmed the quarterback. They really got after Drake May. They really made life impossible for the Patriots offense. And there were moments where the Seahawks and Sam Darnold could get the ball moving, but that Rams and Patriots game was one of those where there was just nothing going on for most of the game. I think it was 3-3 into the fourth quarter. So that one, in my estimation, was the worst, most boring Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. Did you have the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl? Because both Alex and I did, especially being from New York. We didn't want the Patriots to win.
Yeah, that seemed to be a common sentiment across the country. There were not a lot of people that wanted to see the Patriots win. I did think the Seahawks would win. I thought it would be a close game, though. I thought that the way Sam Darnold's inexperience, the way that the Patriots defense might be able to create a turnover or two, and Josh McDaniels, the play caller, I figured that the Patriots would be able to be in the game until the fourth quarter. And obviously I was wrong. It just was never really a close game. Of course, you had all those field goals early, but I didn't think the Patriots called a very good game. They didn't create any plays downfield, and the biggest thing is they didn't force any turnovers. And once the Seahawks held on to the football and Sam Darnold didn't make any mistakes, really the Patriots just had no chance at climbing back into that ball game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And to switch gears here a little bit, I'd love to talk about the Super Bowl, but I have you here, and we have a couple questions to ask you as a Syracuse grad. You graduated in 2001. You got your start here at WAER as a sports director, but something that I didn't even know, and maybe a lot of people out there don't know, is you actually own and edit a sports blog called The Fizz. Can you just talk a little bit about that and what it means to you, not only to keep up with Syracuse sports as a grad, but also to connect with current broadcasters at Syracuse?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was working a couple of places around the country doing sports radio, specifically I was in Miami at this time, I just felt like this need to be connected to the university because I wasn't able to get back because I was living so far away, and I was still kind of watching the games, and I had all these opinions about the team and about, college sports in general. So I said, why don't I start a website and, give me a chance to write every day. I love to write, and it was just a chance to cover the team and write and give my opinions, and kind of grew from there. And little by little, our readership really started to grow, and I started to need a couple more writers. And so I added a few writers who were at the time students at SU, and I was connected to WAER, so they were also doing broadcast there. So I was kind of in the cycle of understanding, the kids that were coming out and the young students and the broadcasters. And ever since then, we've just brought in young writers every single year, and it's been a thrill of mine to watch young people develop their writing and become more versatile in their writing and their broadcasting. And, it's been a really great joy of mine to watch so many of the staff members on the Orange Fizz website kind of go on to do some great things. We've had guys go on to Drew Carter as the voice of the Boston Celtics. He was a writer for me. Mike Cousins is an ESPN broadcaster. He was a writer for me. Kevin Fitzgerald works at ESPN. He was a writer for me. Brendan Glasheen does WNBA. He was a writer for me. So these types of stories is a thrill to me to be able to connect with young writers and young broadcasters at SU. And still cooking. And now with the basketball season kind of on the rocks, there's plenty to write about every single day. So we're still covering all that on Orange Fizz. So it's been wild. It's been great. It's been really fun.
Love that.
And then during your time here at Syracuse, what's something that you learned in Newhouse that has stayed with you throughout your career?
One of the things that I learned early was to respect how hard everybody else worked. I think when I was in high school, I was the one at the at my student outlets that was really invested in trying to do my best. And I was kind of the one that I think was pushing for a career in it. But once I got to Syracuse, I was around so many other students that also wanted it as much as I did. And I realized, what I thought was a work ethic, I'm going to have to be even better than that. And I have to listen and pick up the other, skills or abilities around me, and that'll help make me better. So, when I was at SU, my graduating class had Andrew Catalon in it, and Andrew is a voice of the NFL and March Madness. I had, a year ahead of me, Corey Provis. He's now a voice in the Big Ten and the voice of the Minnesota Twins. I was able to learn so much from people around me by seeing how they approached it, and also previous broadcasters that would come back and help lend an ear and lend some advice. So really being perceptive of the way others went about it, something that I could be inspired by, but also learn from. That was something that I still take with me, and I try to learn from people that are around me that I feel are dedicated and skillful and really into it. I try to still pick up as much as I can from people around me.
I love that. I think Alex and I, especially as seniors, feel that same way. Graduating with this graduating class of BDJ seniors, just connecting with everyone and others pushing you to be your best is really great. And obviously when you were here, it was maybe a little more fun and easier to talk about Syracuse sports. So what was the best sports moment that you witnessed during your time at Syracuse?
Yeah, in some ways we were pretty lucky because both football and basketball were both pretty good simultaneously. Now, at the time, it's funny, when I first got to Syracuse, freshman and sophomore year, Donovan McNabb was the starting quarterback, and those 2 years ended in a Fiesta Bowl and an Orange Bowl. So we were really rolling from a football standpoint, and then the basketball team would get to the NCAA tournament and win a couple of games, but they were not in the Final Four my 4 years or the Elite Eight. They would usually top out in the round of 32, maybe the Sweet 16. But now I see, how many non-bowl seasons we've had in football and 5 straight years of missing the NCAA tournament, and that would have been unheard of back then. So, yeah, I do feel fortunate to have been at SU at that time. And I think, to me, one of the coolest things was watching elite football talent come through the Carrier Dome. At the time, the Big East was really rolling. Miami was in the Big East. Virginia Tech was in the Big East. Virginia Tech, we had Michael Vick come into the Carrier Dome my senior year. We called that game on AER. Miami, had great players as well. They came through. Watching elite players like that would go on to the NFL. Syracuse had Dwight Freeney at that time. He's obviously a Pro Football Hall of Famer. To have that level of competition, those rivalries in a full Carrier Dome for football was really, truly special. And I remember looking around at that SU Virginia Tech game, a game that, you can still read about. That was Dwight Freeney versus Michael Vick, basically. I think Freeney had 4.5 sacks in the game, and Vick still found a way to win. It just was, you just knew you were watching something really historic as we were calling that game. So that's one of the ones that I'll always remember, and that era of sports was pretty cool.
Well, hopefully sometime soon we can get back to seeing that caliber of greatness here at Syracuse. But for now, DA, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
My pleasure. I'm surprised we didn't do 20 minutes on the Packers, but I guess that's next time. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, DA.
All right, you got it. Thank you.
All right, make sure to catch DA on the DA Show mornings on SiriusXM's Mad Dog channel. When we come back, we're turning the mic over to you guys. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this is gonna be fun.
That's what your definition of fun is, but
this is just like, I just love doing this, because it's so easy for people to comment, but it's like, okay, can you back it up? That's because I can rebuttal. I don't know. Going back to the Super Bowl ads for something fun, I really wasn't impressed. Like Budweiser, they do it every year. I think they had a great commercial, but
there's actually these kind of like remake commercials.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of things. I was like, I feel like I have. Some of them.
What do you think of the halftime performance? Just the music, politics aside.
Well, yeah, that as well. But the music, I think it was good. I liked the creativity.
Yeah,
of it.
I think it was very visually appealing.
I think it was. It wasn't to me, so I think it was very unique, and I love that there were so many different little things you had to like look at the details for afterwards and watch it back. I think it was so cool, like how they did it wasn't just like a stage with
right.
The
it felt
lasers
short
going.
Though.
It felt short.
Very short.
It felt weird where it cut off, but overall, I think it was great. There were certain things that I was like, I think it was so hit or miss, especially for the people who were there. Like, I saw people online and they're like, oh my God, it was so cool watching it. And other people were like, I literally couldn't even see him. He was standing behind the Bush people the whole time.
The Bush people
was crazy. So I didn't watch the first like minute or so of it. So I had no idea that it was people until after the show. And I like go on my phone and look at like Instagram and TikTok and it's like the Bush people running onto the field. And I was like, wait, those are people? That threw me for a second.
Who's your dream Super Bowl halftime?
Oh, wow. That's... Do you have one on the top
Drake.
of your mind?
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake, please do a Super Bowl.
No, that would be a great one. That would be
or
cool.
like a country mashup.
I was going to say like something, like I was like thinking, I was like, it's someone who would also be a good performer. Like, that's what people forget about, is sometimes like artists are great artists and they have good music, and then you even see some of their concerts and it's just like, especially sometimes with country, I was just like, country is my favorite kind of music, so like
Morgan Wallen could do a great one. Luke Combs.
I don't know. Okay, Luke Combs a little bit more than Morgan Wallen. The only thing with Luke Combs is like, you need a little more performance there. Like, it can't just be one person. Like, it's got to be some sort of mashup of some sort.
I don't know who it's gonna be next year.
Drake would be so
Drake would
good.
be sick. Drake, if you're listening, A, I want to meet you, but B, please do the halftime show. I think that would be good. I don't know who it's gonna be. I like when it's like two people.
I like it when it's multiple
I like it when it's multiple. Like, I think the like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre one.
Because I was thinking about
sick.
When you were like, oh, who's like your dream one? I was like, yeah, but the Snoop Dogg one was so good.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Like, there's like a couple of them that have been really, really good when it's like multiple people. Who was it one year? It was...
was it Bruno Mars and Shakira?
Bruno Mars and...
or no, Beyonce. No. Was it Beyonce?
I was going to say, no, Shakira and someone else. Was it... But it wasn't Beyonce. Wait.
I don't know who it was.
I saw something about it earlier today, and I was like looking at like videos of different ones, and I was like, Well, I think that like nothing in terms of like, it's so different from like the show as a whole and like moments, where it's like the best moment that, I don't know, in my opinion, but is Princeing Purple Rain in the Rain.
Obviously.
Like, there's no... Thank you, Nika. Exactly. Like, he's giving a thumbs up over there from the side. Like, it's just certain moments.
Yeah, like the Whitney Houston national anthem. Like, you can't...
Certain things
you can't beat that. But I think Chris Stapleton is the closest second to a national anthem when he did it like 2 years ago. That was a great national anthem.
I think the national anthem yesterday was great too.
Yeah, that one, Charlie Puth. I didn't even know. I was like, Charlie Puth, where's he been? How does he get the national anthem?
I have not heard his name in a while. I've been to like concerts for like certain like music festivals where he's been, but I have not heard that name in a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the name of the second fish.
On QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. We're going to get into Syracuse basketball right now. But first, we want to take it back a little bit to last week. Alex and I went on this rant a little bit talking about the hot topic, which is Adrian Autry and his job. Should it be kept or not be kept? And Alex and I agreed that at the time when Syracuse was 13-9, this was before the UNC game and before the UVA game, that there was no reason in that week to fire Adrian Autry. The clip got posted, and a lot of our fans and followers had some things to say about it. So we want to give the mic to you guys. So what Alex and I are going to do, we're going to read just a couple of our favorite comments left by you, some of our fans and followers, and kind of respond to them because, you know, we want to keep an engaged audience. So Alex, I'll turn it over to you first. What was your favorite comment that we got about our take?
I think my favorite comment from this whole thing was, they will do well at ESPN for their moronic takes.
I like that one.
Hey, if you think I can get a job at ESPN, if you think I'm going to do well there, like, I'll take that compliment.
Yes. If I could have a job at ESPN having moronic takes, oh my God, sign me up. I'll 100%. Whatever salary, give it to me.
Easy.
I'll put to have ESPN on my LinkedIn. I love it. My favorite comment probably was bad take after bad take. Sure hope they're not making a career out of this. ... Oh wait.
We are.
That's crazy.
Who would have thought?
I like that one. I think that one was good. That ... really makes that one.
Right?
Because it's like, oh wait. Yeah.
Like, you had to think about it for a second. You know, it's a little...
Yes. I like that one. All right. Love is your last second favorite. There's so many to choose from right now.
I know. There's a whole list of them. It just keeps going. But I think the next one is going to have to be dumbest thing I've seen on Syracuse Twitter. And there's a lot of competition.
There is. Because, like, when did Twitter get invented? And when do you think, like, people started posting about things pertaining to Syracuse. It probably goes like a while back. So you take in those like hundreds of thousands probably at this point post.
Easy hundreds of thousands.
And the thing that we said was the dumbest of all time.
I mean,
ouch. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Listen, I like to be the number one of something, good or bad. I mean, I'm on the top list of something. All right. This one is a reply actually, because I was so invested. So someone said that, mentality of today's generation, don't be mean. And then someone replied, it's the same thing that Felicia Jack said, women are emotional beings. It's niceness above all else, and it leads to their own deterrent. I love a comment that has a little bit of like misogyny and sexism in it. I love it. It's also really interesting because like, if you know Alex and I, like, there's not a lot of niceness at all times when it comes to sports.
Okay, yeah.
No, we are very nice people.
No,
we are very nice people when it comes to sports. Yeah, we had a little fun with that, but
I mean, even being on air, when I was on air last week, I had a professor coach who was like, wow, you were ripping the men's lacrosse team apart at halftime. You were ripping this one apart. I was like, I'm being honest. It's what I'm here for.
Exactly, we're honest. But listen, in all seriousness, I really don't think that saying that Adrian Autry should be fired last week was outlandish to say at the time. Listen, I'm not here saying that a change doesn't have to be made. 100% Syracuse basketball needs a new coach next season. That is something that I can agree on. Do you not agree with me?
A new head coach?
A new head coach. You're side-eyeing me.
I think, wait. Yeah, I honestly, okay. Oh, it's hard. Okay, because I agree. In some ways, I think change needs to be made. I think it also comes down to the players and that no one just has the confidence, because some of these players do great for a few minutes. The second they miss one or two shots, they just deteriorate. Mm-hmm. There are so many problems on this team, and yes, it comes from top down and from the head coach. Unfortunately, getting rid of him is going to do more harm than good. Syracuse, in terms of what we talked about last week with NIL and the funding and the money that they have to pay some of these players, we cannot compete already. We have seen this year the programs that have put in the money, who have gotten the funding, those are teams that are making it to March Madness this year. We are not, because we cannot compete with these teams anymore. So then you're going to fire him, have to pay him because of the contract. You're now going to be losing even more money that needs to be put into this program. Yes, I think maybe you might need to get rid of him. What coach on earth is going to want to coach here? Well, so I can't think of anyone who will want to take it for the pay and for the fact that you don't have the money to compete with other schools, and you're going to even lose out on even more the second you get rid of him.
I think that's an argument for why they should keep. Because, look, are we looking to fire Autry just to say we did it, or are we firing him to save this season? Because if it's like this holy grail, save the season, we still believe in this team, we have a shot, then fine, do it if you have some coaching candidate out there that's ready to come in. But if not, it's like, there seems to be this vibe that the season's over, let's keep Autry and let's ride this wave until the end, and then we'll look for someone new. I do think it's time to move in from Autry, because like we talked about last time, yes, I understand with NIL, with transfer portal, it's very hard to change a culture and to create a culture. But Adrian Autry has now been here for 3 years and hasn't managed to do that. And this year was the year for Autry to prove that he could do that with this lineup. Now again, I'm not putting this all on Adrian Autry, because you look at these players who are on this team, Nate Kings, Nathan George, Donnie Freeman, and yes, let's bring Kiyan Anthony into the situation. They have not performed like they should be. So is this all on Adrian Autry? Absolutely not. It falls responsible into some of these players, but I think this season proved that there has to be a culture change made. And especially when we get into this Kiyan Anthony situation that happened last game, Autry decided to bench Kiyan Anthony due to a coach's decision, and a lot of people are speculating it's because of an Instagram comment that Kiyan Anthony made under the Syracuse basketball Instagram, Coach Autry was quoted saying after the game, quote, "It's not about narratives or any of this stuff. This was just my decision I made today." That's fine. Kiyan Anthony hasn't been playing well, but ESPN got a hold of that, posted it on their Twitter, on their Instagram, on their TikTok, and it became a thing, and it put Syracuse in this very negative light on top of all other things, and then you pile on our record, and it's like, what is Adrian Autry doing? And I understand benching Kiyan Anthony if this team was playing well and he personally wasn't. But in a game where Syracuse kept it close against UVA, you almost feel like Kiyan Anthony could have been that difference maker. But he was benched because of speculations of an Instagram comment. It's just not a great culture that Adrian Autry is giving to the rest of the world. So I do think a change needs to be made here at the end of this season. I don't know who that is right now, but
I don't think there's going to be anyone who wants to be.
I don't know. I think people want to come in and coach Syracuse basketball.
Yes, because people want to be like, they're going to be the one that takes them that way. Not to say there's no one. There's someone out there. But also going back to the whole Kiyan Anthony situation, him being benched, it's, where we say that it doesn't always fall on Autry, it falls on the players, it falls on, the older guy and the leadership and the fact that even JJ Starling, all these guys don't have the confidence that they need and the fact that they're not able to lead this team. And then you have these freshmen who are great players, but in some ways, sometimes they are not... What's the best way to say this? First, they're not performing the way that some people are expecting them to, and that they not consistently. And on top of it, sometimes they act like they are.
Right.
And the body language, and when they sit down on the bench, and the way that they're acting for everyone to see, they're proving that they can't be that. Because again, they are freshmen. That's okay in some ways, but it was his decision to bench him, and whether it was a good one or not, we'll see what happens, but it'll also be, is this going to be a wake-up call for him to figure some things out? Is it just because of an Instagram comment? What else has happened behind the scenes that has also then led to this? Because we see what we see when he, gets benched during a game, gets pulled off the court, is sitting there. You see his body language there. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes when they're at practice, when all this other stuff is going on. And then, unfortunately, Syracuse did stay in that game, so there's a question of, could he have made the difference to win it? Or was it this team learned how to step up without him on the court? It also shows the other depth that they have, but it's a little too late in the season for that now.
And now it's this other worry of what do the players want? Let's think past the end of this season. Let's think past the ACC tournament. Let's say this team doesn't make it into March Madness, which is what everyone thinks is going to happen, is probably going to happen. It's how do you, retain players like Kiyan Anthony, like Donnie Freeman? Because you got to listen to them at the end of the day. If they're the ones that are saying, hey, Adrian Autry's system really isn't working with us the way he coaches, then ultimately you have to make a change. Forget what the fans are saying. Forget the media narratives. It's what your players want. And that's ultimately who you have to satisfy in the offseason with this transfer portal. You don't want those guys hopping in the transfer portal and leaving. And right now, it seems like the players don't trust Autry, especially after these two games. And you talk about the players' body language, and that comes from discipline from a coach, but you also have to add in that's also respect for your coach, and there just seems to be a lack of that here.
There's definitely some sort of disconnect over there, and that's the other thing though, is he's also has done a solid job recruiting, bring these guys in. I mean, it's hard enough trying to tell someone, hey, we're going to be up in Syracuse. There's going to be 3 feet of snow. It's going to be cold. There's not much. Yep. It's hard enough bringing someone sometimes to this area. And then on top of it, with the lack of sometimes certain supports that this team doesn't have. Mm-hmm. And so he has done a solid job, but it's just not translating at the end of the day, and there is definitely some sort of disconnect there. So it is going to have to also be, like you said, what the players want. But do they also have it within them to have that respect for their coach? Like, he is their coach right now. So there's some question there of like, does it matter who their coach is? Is this just how those players are going to act anyway? Or is it because of the coaching?
It's definitely hard, but let me tell you something. One team that doesn't have a head coaching problem is this Syracuse men's lacrosse team headed by Gary Gait. When we come back, we'll talk about this amazing Syracuse lacrosse team and the test they have this upcoming Friday. Stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So, yeah. I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of people saying, like, call Jerry McNamara up, like, should have let him go. I understand at first, like, why Autry was the choice after Boeheim. It was the most logical thing to do. But now you have to go out and find someone, like, to bring in someone with previous coaching experience. See, this is the debate, and this is a question. Do you want a younger, new style guy, or do you like those like hard-headed old veteran coaches?
I say younger, because when you have the hard-headed older veteran coaches, when they're coming into a program that hasn't been succeeding under that tight, like, and someone that I feel like those coaches work when they've put in the time with those types of teams. When it's, Boeheim was so successful, but he was here for so long, proved himself. When you have one of those coaches that, comes onto a team who doesn't know him, maybe like wasn't recruited by him, decided to stay. Like we already said, there's already seems to be some sort of disconnect. So will that make it grow farther? But you also have to think about, let's say the roster was the same way. When you have so much young talent, you might need someone like that to be able to put them and set them straight into line. But I think the positive side of having someone who might be younger is they can somewhat connect with those younger players and understand them better. And, maybe Autry's coaching style isn't what's right for them, which I think when you're a player, you got to make the coaching style right for you if you want to succeed. But if that's what it's coming down to, and you have someone who's younger, sometimes there's a chance that could then help, because it's a different coaching style. It might be someone that they, might just enjoy having more, but it also is, will they respect them?
Yeah. My biggest fear is Kiyan and Donnie leaving.
Yeah.
Like, that's just... I really hope.
Do you think they leave if the different coach is brought in next year, or do you?
No, I think they leave if Autry stays. Yeah, I hope that Carmelo is in his ear, being like, "Listen, like, you got it. This is the Syracuse brand. Like, you have to be the one to come in." And again, there's a lot of pressure on this kid, like from his dad, from the media, from the fans, and he knows that and he understands that, because like this isn't. 2003, 2004, like Melo wasn't going to come in here and win a national championship in 1 year just because of the landscape of everything. But I just think he wants to go somewhere not only where he gets the most money, but where he gets the most exposure. And this season, the exposure that he's gotten from Syracuse, besides maybe one or two great dunks that he's made, it's just it's been negative. And if I'm Kiyan Anthony, I'm like, why do I want to be here? I understand there's a legacy connected to my last name here, but it's just not what's suitable for me right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's all just going to be a wait and see game.
Yeah.
Even when we were talking about the Super Bowl of like, oh, we thought that the Patriots were going to stick in there and end up being a blowout. Like, we can guess and say as much as we want with the information that we have, but at the end of the day, it's going to be his decision. Yeah. What it comes down to with the coaching staff as well.
It's gonna.
All I know is I'm excited for the cross.
Yeah. Switching gears into happier times, but just on the men's side, we'll talk about the women's game, which was very, very surprising. But yeah, this men's team, man, I'm very nervous about Friday.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I don't see, this is why I hate becoming a fan of another team and another sport, because it just sets me up to be hurt and sad.
Hey, then be a fan of a different, lacrosse team. Don't be a fan of Syracuse. I don't want that bad energy coming towards us. Absolutely not. Keep the bad juju to yourself.
I know. I have bad juju.
With ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, we are back here on Newhouse Afternoon. Dylan Beyer with Alex Pohl. Alex Pohl has more of a smile on her face right now because we get to talk about Syracuse men's lacrosse, who is 2-0 on the season and is coming off just a dominant performance against St. Joseph's. They won 20-2 in the Dome. I mean, basically the whole team got on the score sheet. Joey Splina passes Gary Gate on the Syracuse all-time points. It's just like good news after good news after great news. What did you see from that game, and what did they clean up from the BU game that you like to see in last game?
That's such a loaded question. There's a lot of answers here. Overall, I loved how dominant the Syracuse attack was, and like you mentioned, how many players got onto that score sheet. It just keeps going to show how much depth they have in that area. We talked about how Owen Hiltz was out, and then you have Trey Deer who was injured. So who's going to fill that role? Obviously, we knew they had so much depth and a lot of players to work with. And then right at the start of this game, you don't see Peyton Anderson on the field. We find out that he's out with an illness.
Yep.
So that took him out of the game. Was that a cause for concern for them to lose? Absolutely not. It was just, okay, it just keeps shifting who's going to be that front line, and the Syracuse team just did such a phenomenal job. You have Joey Splina, like you mentioned, who's just, I mean,
number one.
Who's surprised he had 9 points in the game?
Like, who does that? I understand it's versus St. Joseph's, but still, you have to be a special type of player to have 9 points in a game.
And then Finn Thompson, who, I am so happy that he's back from injury. He has been doing such a phenomenal job. Always is able, I think in comparison to literally anyone, he does such a great job of being able to shoot with like absolutely no angle. He'd be right on the edge of the crease, barely half step past goal line extended, and he gets the ball in, can throw behind the back passes, catches anything that comes his way. He does a great job of also keeping his composure. They had called this on him, change possession, because he landed in the crease, but it was when he was off ball, whether that was a push, just a trip into the crease, who knows. And then they get the ball back down the field, and he's the one who scores the goal.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like nothing really bothers him and gets in his head because he's such a clean player and is able to always get the ball back. So it was a great showing from him. And overall, Jimmy McCool.
Great goalie.
Phenomenal job with 10 saves and only 2 goals allowed in the game. He's just showing why he's this starting goalie. And something people don't talk about is actually how much depth they have in the goal.
Yeah.
So he was someone who was behind Will Mark for 2 years, stepped up, completely proved himself last season, and is now doing it again. Had a little bit of a slow start against BU, but absolutely killed it. He even said, people were asking, what goes through your mind during all this?
My favorite quote.
Nothing.
He said, quote, honestly, nothing. I kind of try not to think at all. I mean, it's working. So
works.
Keep nothing in that brain, I guess.
And it's the way of having the mind of what some people call having the brain of a goldfish. You just forget. I know that was the advice that I got when I was playing goalie in high school and on club. It's if you're overthinking a goal, especially a goal that goes in, if you're going to keep thinking about it, you might start inching towards that way, trying to shift yourself because you're scared it's going to go like, no. You think about nothing. You trust yourself. You trust your instincts, and his absolute ability to just react. And he does such a great job of it. They pull in Michael Ippoliti, who also had 3 saves, no goals against, a backup goalie who barely touches the field. It's just that people want to, we don't have that coaching problem like you talked about. People want to play for Gary Gate. They want to be a part of this Syracuse squad. Yeah. And, it doesn't matter if they're riding the bench for a year, 2 years, 3 years, because they're just such a dominant team, a dominant bench with so much depth, even within the goal. And that's not something you see on, I'd say, 99% of teams. You can't have someone that you throw in on goal, some backup who honestly could be a starter at another program.
Right. And like we said last week, this game was more to fix what they struggled with versus BU, and I think they did those things. The clear looked way better.
Yep.
They didn't get as many turnovers this game, and it has to be rewarding that in the fourth quarter your reserves come in and they still look like starters. They look just as dominant. But really, I didn't see anything that this team needed to work on. It's more now you have to adjust to face this Maryland team this Friday. This is like, I was explaining to my friends who don't watch lacrosse, I was like, you guys, this is like Alabama versus Georgia. This is like Knicks versus, this is the epitome of matchups that you want to see in a Syracuse lacrosse game. And looking ahead to Friday, 6 p.m. at the Dome, Maryland's season opener was postponed against number 8 Richmond due to weather. But they're 1-0 in the season. They beat Loyola, but only by 9 goals. I say only by 9 goals, but
only 9.
Only 9, but 19-10. Is that a little concerning that Maryland led up 10 goals to Loyola and was trailing for some time in the first and second quarter, or is that just first game jitters and unfortunately they couldn't get some of those kinks out because of their postponed game?
I think that we have to give them some grace on a 9-goal win.
I know. I'm like, well.
Syracuse did the same thing. They started off very slow against Boston University. They were back and forth at the start, and it took them till after halftime to really kick everything into gears. I mean, they did a great job all game, but you really saw that shift after halftime. So I'm not really concerned necessarily in any way for this Maryland squad. I mean, it was only in the last few minutes, but if you want to really think about the score of honestly being more of a 19-8 game, because in those last 2 minutes, Loyola scored against one of their backup goalies, something that doesn't happen to Syracuse because we have such a phenomenal backup squad. But again, that's where you see it. No one really has that backup goalie situation. But for Maryland, I think overall they did a great job. They have Leo Johnson, who had 5 goals and assists. So, Joey Spallina has his 9 points. Leo Johnson's got his 6 points. They do have some really solid matchups. And they, just as much as Syracuse did, they had a lot of players get on the board in this game. They had 9 guys score on their squad. So I don't think that there's really anything to look back upon for this Maryland game and be necessarily concerned about how well they're going to be playing this season.
So just a little history about this matchup. Maryland's currently on an 8-game winning streak versus Syracuse. Of course, they played in the Final Four. We all know how that one turned out. And they also played last season during the regular season, and Maryland won 11-7. So Syracuse has a lot of revenge riding on this game. Take down the number 1, take down the guys that took you out of it last year. But we've talked so much about the Syracuse offense. Jimmy McCool has credited his defense for making his job so easy. You look at what Maryland was able to do against Loyola. Their offense is absolutely firing. So what will matter more for this game? Is it the offensive play or the defensive play for both these teams? Because personally, I just don't see Joey Spallina, anyone stopping Joey Spallina, but I also don't know if Syracuse can stop Leo Johnson and his squad. So what's going to matter more?
I think it's going to come down to efficiency and composure. So both, like we just mentioned, they both have such solid squads, really great goalies on both ends, star attackmen. Maryland has locked down Joey Spallina in the past, but there's just an overwhelming amount of depth that each of these teams have, not just Syracuse. So it's not going to matter too much if they're trying to lock down Spallina because of how many other players you have. And you can also still get some assists off and be that quarterback, which may end up being a stronger role for him in this matchup. But coming down to efficiency and ability to take care of the ball, So, like, in the Maryland game against Loyola, they took 41 shots.
Yeah, crazy.
That's a lot.
Right.
And when it comes down to then, you're going to be playing against a defense that is very strong with Syracuse. They did a great job on ground balls. They had 26 ground balls against St. Joe's. So that's not going to be something you want to be happening against Syracuse if you're ripping it, not getting them on cage, letting it go to Syracuse's defense to take the clear, and then also shooting on Jimmy McCool. You want to be precise with it because you don't know when you're getting the ball back. Syracuse has done a good job on the face-off with Johnny Mullen. He did struggle a bit in the St. Joe's game. It's because he has such a strong and fast clamp, but St. Joe's was marking him right there and staying just as aggressive on the ground. So when it translates into the Maryland game, if he plays how we know he's going to be able to, he's still going to do a phenomenal job at X. So knowing that if you're not efficient with your shots and really putting them well on goal, that's going to be a struggle because there's no guarantee of when you're getting the ball back from Maryland. And I think that's somewhere that Syracuse can try to take advantage of. But they also have such a strong face-off unit, having 21 face-offs in the game against Loyola.
Yeah, listen, I think that both these teams, their offense just comes naturally. They really don't have to think too hard into it. I think this game is going to come down to which goalie makes more stops, because obviously there's Jimmy McCool for Syracuse, but Maryland has a new goalie after Logan McNanny graduated, which was almost like their greatest prize possession was that goalie, and now there's a new goalie. So I'd love to see Syracuse offense really test that goalie, whether that's, I don't want, too many BTVs from Joey Splina, and him and Finn were able to find great connections with each other against St. Joe's, but this isn't St. Joe's, this is Maryland. But ultimately, I think this is going to come down to the goalies in this game. So hopefully McCool can just not think about anything and just stop goals getting into the net. Well, when we come back, we'll look at the other lacrosse team, the women's lacrosse team, who aren't off to such a hot start this season. We'll talk about it right when we come back.
Thank you very much.
Perfect timing.
Yeah?
I didn't think this schedule would actually work, but we've actually hit everything.
Perfect.
We're very proud of us.
How much time do we have?
We're going to have exactly 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
I was looking at the weather for this upcoming week, and I saw a 38-degree day, and I was like, I'm getting my shorts out. I'm getting my tank top out. I'm ready.
You're ready? I thought it was going up to 40 something.
Oh my God.
No, next week there's one day that's 45 or 47.
Okay. If you haven't been on this quad after a horrible, brutal stretch of cold, and we get 50, 55 degree day, everyone is on the quad with their blankets doing their work. I remember freshman year, we had one of those random 80-degree days in March. I skipped all of my classes in the afternoon, and I just sat on the quad, and I was like, I needed this so badly.
Oh, you see people who bring out their inflatable pool, fill them up,
hammocks.
People are in water.
Yeah.
It's the most unbelievable thing ever. Yeah, next week we have 40 degrees next Wednesday.
Oh my God.
And then it snows the next day. But it's okay. See, it's supposed to snow the day before, but it's going to be 37 degrees. So I'm not too concerned about how much it's going to snow.
No.
We just need a couple really sunny days to get this snow out of here. See, that's going to be the concern, is the fact that we still have a solid 2 feet plus of snow on the ground.
It's crazy.
So it needs to get hot enough to get that snow out of here, or just rain. And
I don't like rain though.
Oh, see, I love the rain.
I like the rain when I have nowhere to go and I could just stay inside all day.
Okay.
But when I have to walk to class,
I'd
rather it be snowing than raining.
That's what it needs to rain on
during spring break.
Yeah,
so when I come back
away.
when I come back from spring break, I don't want to see any snow.
Are you going to be in the sun during spring break?
I'm going to Nashville, and then I'm going to Aspen. So, not the sun. Are you going to be in the sun?
I will be in the sun. Actually, I was supposed to go to Nashville, but we decided Nashville's not warm enough for us.
It's not, but
it's not
I
gonna be warm
have
at
to
all.
go.
So I'm actually going to be in Palm Springs, California. It's going to be a nice 80-something degrees.
That's so great.
Desert. It's going to be great.
You know what? I'm really embracing the cold so that this summer is just so good.
Okay.
So I'm really living in this. I'm acknowledging it. And then this summer, it's going to be the best summer ever because I've lived through this.
Honestly, if the temperature stays where it's at today, I'm okay with that. We've survived. I mean, not forever, but I mean for the next month or so.
No,
it's not that bad. You said you didn't want it to rain until spring break, and then it'd be nice after that. That's more than a month away.
Honestly, I just want a day of no clouds and just sun, cause I'm lacking vitamin D. And listen, I take a multivitamin shot every morning because I'm very much lacking vitamin D, and that
one of those red light?
I have. Yeah. I do that every night. But it's not the same.
It's not. Nothing's the same as the sun.
I need the sun back, please. I think I was in Maloney's class and he was like, well, we just ended a 40-day stretch without the sun. And I was like, huh?
Unfortunately, yeah. I remember one time on the news last winter, it was today is the first day in Syracuse that they will have the sun in over 4 weeks. I was like, are you joking?
Yeah.
That's the difference between Syracuse cold and Long Island cold. Mm-hmm. Because I have a friend who was like, oh, I want to move to New York City or Long Island, New Jersey. They're fine living in that area. And they're like, oh, I want to get out of the snow. And I was like, it still snows there. Not as bad. But that's the difference is when I was home for break, there's snow on the ground. It was snowing the day before. The sun is so bright. The sun is out at all times. Here, it snows and it's just darkness.
You know how I know that we're getting old? Because we're talking about the weather.
Talk about my new fish.
We haven't talked about sports. We were talking about weather.
Oh, no.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, we are back for a short bit to talk about Syracuse women's lacrosse, who lost 5-9 last weekend to number 7 Maryland. And it was off to a bad start. They trailed 3-0 in the first quarter and really couldn't come back from that. What did you see in that one? And is it surprising that they lost this game under Jerry Thorpe in his first game as a head coach?
I'm not that surprised, and I'm honestly okay. I don't want to say I'm okay with a loss, but Maryland is such a strong program. It's not like there's some no-name. We just talked about how phenomenal they are on the men's side, and it's the same on the women's side as well. So it's not like it's some no-name random unranked team. It's Maryland, and I think that. When you say, oh, do I have anything to take away from that? Yeah, slow start. It happens. Brand new coach. The team's still meshing. I think I had a lot of positives, honestly, to take away from this game. And the fact that they were able to come back a bit. They started connecting. You have Melina Cotter and Caroline Trinkus. Caroline Trinkus did such a great job of, trying to help set the tone. And there's a lot of really great things to take away. Caroline Trinkus had 2 goals in the game. You're not having some Joey Spallina with 9 points, but 2 goals is 2 goals. And having multiple players who are able to figure out how to convert that ball. Jolie Caramelli, who I absolutely love her on the field. She does such a great job. She's amazing in the leadership. She's a captain this year as a junior, having a goal and an assist. There's a lot to take away and a lot of things that they did well. Was it a perfect game? No. You have Molly Guzik as well, who was taking the majority of the draws. She had 6 draw controls and a goal. So you have people making an impact. You just didn't have an overwhelming amount of it overall. But, I think that it comes down to what I also said with the whole situation of taking care of the ball and being disciplined and taking your time is Syracuse took 38 shots.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. I was looking at the stats of this game. Syracuse took 38 shots, but only 15 were counted as shots on goal.
Yeah.
So you talk about taking quality over quantity shots. It seems like that just wasn't there versus Maryland.
Yeah, I think that it comes off of where they're taking the shots from, the feeds coming in. Also, even the men's team took some bad shots because they were struggling with shot clock violations. It kind of puts you in a position of, do you want to rip a bad shot and then have to rush back onto defense, or let you take that violation, set yourself up knowing that you're about to run out? But yeah, taking 38 shots, that was a lot. And for the Maryland goalie, they also had a strong goalie of 16 saves coming in on that end. So there's a lot for them, not to say a crazy amount for them to work on. They also did a solid job on draw controls. Being 8 and having Maryland also have 8, being split on draw controls, that's not something, Syracuse used to be like the best draw control unit, but that was 2 years ago, and you have someone that has over like 300 draw controls. Last year, they struggled a lot. They were constantly rotating a new player in what felt like almost every game. Jolie Caramelli taking a lot of those, falling onto her shoulders, and they just were not consistent at all. So the fact that they were able to split this, they didn't come out crazy under Reggie Thorpe, but they have a lot of good things to work with, and that, they're getting somewhere. One concern for me, though, was the fact that they're 1-9 on free position shots. That's something that needs to...
Listen, a lot of things, like we said last week, maybe it's better sometimes to lose the first game or two to see right from the start what you have to work on. So hopefully this Syracuse women's lacrosse team can rebound from this game.
And I think they will.
I think they will, too. That's all the time we have here on Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Dylan Fire with Alex Pohl. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
It's Orange Nation.